Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to make this pretty Poppy happy birthday card using some supplies from our sponsor, Rubber Stamp Tapestry. You can find them online at pegstamps.com. I've got the happy unmounted stamp set as well as a couple Poppy stamp sets, Poppies for Remembrance and Poppy Fields, which has the same poppies in different sizes, which is super handy. I've got some cardstock all cut and ready to go, and we are going to start some inking. Now this is a mask I die cut many months ago, I think, and it's just really handy. You could take some scallop scissors or regular scissors and just cut a kind of a curved edge, and you can use that as a stencil. And all I'm doing is just using this ink blending brush to blend my ink over this stencil. I just make sure I move it before I get to the edge of the stencil so I don't end up with any weird angle marks there. So you can make your own really easily. You could even use torn paper for the same effect. Then I'm taking a green brush, just a brush that I always use for green, and I'm blending in some ink at the bottom. Now you could also use sponges if you prefer, whatever you want to do to do your inking there. I just like the soft look that it gives. Now I'm stamping Happy Birthday right on top of the sky using archival black ink. You can use whatever ink you like. You could even emboss it if you felt like it. So that is completely up to you. I just thought it would be nice to kind of have that up there in the sky. The next thing I'm doing is getting my red inks out and ready to go. So I like to, when I have a stamp like this that has a lot of solid area, I like to ink it up with a couple different shades of ink, and it gives me a more sophisticated and in-depth look. So if I ink it up first in red and then I rock the bottom in like a darker red, it gives me like a shadowed effect. So it looks like kind of like I used a layering stamp, or it just gives it a little bit more depth that I like. Now I'm starting off with one of the largest Poppy stamps I have and just kind of spacing it out and then filling in with the smaller Poppy stamps. I love that both of these stamp sets have the same designs in them at a different scale, so I can mix them together, or I could use them for different projects where I might want a different stamp, because I really like that design. Now I'm just freehanding in the stems here using a bullet tip marker, and this one is an old Tombow marker. You could use whatever brand you have, and you could even use an alcohol pen. That's not going to hurt anything. And I thought I would freehand in some poppy buds because I think they add such a fun little design to it. It always reminds me of kind of like, you know, snake charmers, like the snakes coming out of a basket. They're kind of like dancing around. I just love that I can add in this extra rhythm and movement in my card like that. I used a grass die cut. Now, if you don't have a grass die cut, you could tear a piece of cardstock. You could take scissors and fringe cut a piece of cardstock. You could, you know, use your decorative edge scissors if you have some that kind of look, you know, jagged. That would work really well. But since I had a die, I decided I would use that. And then I just inked up the edges with that same green I used on the bottom of the card. I like to do my gluing and assemble my layers first if I do have a mat. That way, if any of those little die cuts I'm going to put on top hang over, then I can anchor them to that matte area. And I'm just using my ATC adhesive to glue everything down. You could of course use wet glue or whatever adhesive you prefer. I'm still doing all of this off of my main card base because that's white, and I just want to make sure I don't smudge any ink where I don't want it. So there's a nice tip if you like to use white card bases. Assemble everything for the card front separately and then glue it down to your base. You might even want to wash your hands before you do that to make sure nothing gets smudged on you. And because my grass die cut wasn't quite long enough, although I realized later I could have just lined it up again and cut it, that's the way that die cut was designed, I just took some other little grass bits and kind of filled in and made it a little bit nicer to look at. So, you know, make it work. Whatever you have, you know, you can always alter it to make it work. So if you've got a punch, or you've got decorative scissors, or you've got, you know, just a regular pair of scissors, you can make the same idea work for you. So don't feel like you have to have every single thing that I do. And now that I've got that panel all done, I'm just adhering it down to a white card base. If you enjoyed this project and you want to find the stamps, you can find them at our sponsor, Rubber Stamp Tapestry, at pegstamps.com. Thanks so much for watching today. Please give me a thumbs up before you go. Until next time, happy crafting.